In this next exercise, we're going to do some printing. So let's uh, leave layout tab and go back here to the home tab here. And let's say we're in a layout tab here called viewport example, and we want to print this out. So if I go to the big application button here and I go to print, you see there's various options here to print. A plot preview gives you a preview of what it'll look like before it actually prints. If a printer has been assigned to this drawing, if I were to click on that, this is a print preview of what the drawing looks like. The dotted lines will not print, therefore they disappear. But this border will print, and the drawing you see on the screen will print. And in this environment here, you can basically use these tools here to zoom in on the drawing, start a print, a plot there. Print and plot are the same thing, or exit this preview. I'm going to exit the preview. And so under the big application window, print, you've got the plot preview, assuming that there's been a plot setup created for your project. So let's look at actually setting up a print, a formatting of something to print in AutoCAD. I'll go here to the big application button. I'll go down to print, and I will go here to page setup. You always want to have a page setup for anything you print, because that's where the computer knows what printer you want to send the file to, what sheet size you want to use, that type of information. You want to do this from Paperspace typically, although you can print from ModelSpace, but generally you're printing from Paperspace. If I choose this page setup option here, you'll see here it's about to allow me to modify the current tab I'm in, and I'm currently in the viewport example tab. And if I modify that tab, I can basically specify how this tab will print. So let's choose modify. If I chose new, it'll make a new print manager tab or option here on the list that allows me to format the layout in a certain way. Let's go here to modify. And here's the option that you have. Now, there's only certain options we'll work on this week, but the ones to focus on are the following. Name of the printer. Like any printing program, you want to choose where your print is going. What physical printer is going to print the job, or what file format you want to print to. For example, you can print to a PDF file. AutoCAD has a DWG to PDF option that will print this CAD file to a PDF file. And then the PDF file can be printed to a printer. But the PDF file can also be emailed to someone as well, or saved into a folder as a file. You can see here, I've got a printer set up here at home called HP OfficeJet. That's my physical printer behind me, and it'll send this file to that printer. And that printer has certain sheet sizes that are available for that printer. And it'll have certain menu options that are available specifically for my printer. You might have different options at home. If I go back to this one here called drawing to PDF, I'll leave that one alone. The other option here is paper size. You want to determine how big a sheet size you have, and printers have different sheet sizes based on your printer. So because this is printed to a PDF, the PDF writer has a great many sheet sizes. These are all the different types of sheet sizes here. 11 by 17 is typically called ANSI-B. And they have another one here, slightly different, but these are all the basic printers that you can pick and choose from. Normally in architecture, we tend to use the arc sizes here. These are all the different architectural sheet sizes that are available in the architectural interior design world. And so arc C, D, and E are the common ones that you choose to print to. Now, here, this is already set up to 11 by 8.5 by 11, basically. So that's the first sheet size, and here gives you a little preview of the sheet size. Those options here are only available based on this option in the plotter name. If I chose my printer, this list gets much smaller because my printer cannot print sheet sizes that are much greater than 11 by 17. So I cannot print 17 by 22 or 34 by 22. That's much larger than my printer will allow. Therefore, my printer driver, the software install with my printer, will only populate a fraction of this list. But PDFs, because they're digital files, they can be any size that's available to pick and choose from. This here says what it's going to print. It's going to print the layout tab, which is exactly what we're after. We're after this layout tab called Viewport Example. It's currently the active layout tab. It's open, and it's going to print it out. Over here in the bottom right, it says landscaping. Sorry, landscape. The sheet's going to be horizontal, not vertical. Vertical is portrait mode, and it would completely change the orientation of the file and how you receive the printout. So I'm going to leave it landscaping because it's meant to be horizontal, not vertical. And then there's some other tools here that we use at some future date, but we'll leave it at that for the time being. And notice here the scale is 1:1. So if it's an inch wide, it'll print out an inch on the sheet size if you were to measure it. And again, this is printing the sheet of paper. So it's 8.5 by 11. It'll print it out exactly 8.5 by 11. And so if I hit OK and close, all those changes have been saved to those page setup changes, layouts. So layout tab here, page setup, these page setups, the revisions, the changes in this modify menu got saved back to these page setups. Was it here? I want to quickly mention that if you return to the page setup option here, and you were to be in the process of modifying it, you could get a preview of what this file will look like if it's printed before actually sending it to the printer. So if I were here, because we're just doing page setups, we're not actually printing anything. But here, the preview button will give you a little preview of what this file looks like before it actually prints. So you see here exactly what you'll get as a preview. I can close the preview here. And if I hit OK, it sends me back to the page setups that I'm basically programming. So this is the list of layout tabs that have been formatted to print a certain way based on options you chose in that page setup menu, basically, when I went here to modify. All these page setup menu options here were recorded and saved to this page here called Viewport Example. And so in the future, when I actually print out this page, it'll remember all those settings, and then it'll be a simple act of printing out the sheet and going directly to the printer. I don't have to return to the menu because I've already formatted it to look a certain way when it prints out. That's the purpose of setting up page setups. So I don't have to fill out that list of options every single time I print a sheet. Because sometimes in a set of drawings, you could have 100 sheets. You do not want to go through 100 sheets and make those same options for every single sheet in a page setup environment. It takes too long. Now, let's say I actually want to print out this sheet as a PDF. I can go back to the application button and go down here to print and choose the plot button. A plot, print, they mean exactly the same thing. Normally, plotting means you're using a large format plotter to make your printout. Yet you're still printing something. So if I go to plot, I don't need to I click on it here. I'm going to continue with a single plot. I'm only going to print one page. I can actually program AutoCAD to print out multiple sheets at the same time. But in this example, we'll only print out a single page. So continue to plot a single sheet. Fine. And here, all the settings I recorded earlier reappear on the screen here. So it returns to my settings. I don't have to make any changes. And now when I hit OK, it'll actually create a printout. And it's asking me what location to put the file in because it's going to produce a PDF, as opposed to a printer where it'll simply send it to the printer and it'll create a hard copy. So for example, here, it's going to print the file called Conference Room Viewport Example PDF. It's going to place it in the folder that I designate here on my computer screen. And once I hit save, it'll print this file to a PDF with that naming convention. I can hit cancel to return to the menu. And so this menu here is the same menu as the page setup, except it has a button here that says plot that will launch a printout basically of your file. So that's the only difference between page setup and uh, and the print command, or what they call, in this case, what they call plot, the plot command right there. So that ends our quick exercise demonstrating how to use the plot function in Revit, in AutoCAD, to plot out a drawing to a PDF and or a hard copy if you need to.